Liverpool 2, Chelsea 1, and honestly, what a good game of football. I begrudgingly have to put my hands up and say fair play to Liverpool. They look scary. And honestly, I've been saying this for a while about Liverpool, but one of the criticisms that's been leveled against that is that they haven't really been tested yet against good opposition. And I think that myth slowly will start to get dispelled after today, because Chelsea are no pushovers. Chelsea are a genuinely good team this season, in my humble opinion. And Liverpool were able to completely nullify them and practically put them out of the game for about an hour of that game. Barring the first half an hour, Chelsea were not really able to unlock Liverpool's defence and take control of the game. The first half an hour was really good from Chelsea. They sat back in a 4-4-2 and they pressed at the right moments. They sat back at the right moments. And when they were in possession, building up or in transition, they looked really solid. But after that penalty, after that mistake from, I believe it was Tosin, and a couple of mistakes from Colwell, and even some questionable moments from Sanchez, it just felt like that confidence, that urgency, that bravado that Chelsea started with completely dissipated. And Liverpool were back in the driving seat again. And this is the thing, the defining feature of Liverpool, whether it's under Slot or under Klopp, the vintage Liverpool DNA, for me, is the fact that they're just so decisive in those key moments, especially when they're not playing well. And that's what makes this Liverpool team so dangerous, is that if you don't take your chances against them, you know that that Egyptian bastard at the other end is going to make you pay for it. And he did today. Not just with the penalty, but he played quite a couple of really good piercing balls from his own half into the opposition half. There was actually one that he played, I believe, to Cody Gakpo, and it was just unreal. Sometimes I think Mo Salah gets unfairly criticised because he's seen as a pace and power merchant, but honestly, this guy's technique is out of this world. His ball striking ability and his ability to play a long range pass is really underrated, in addition to his goal scoring abilities and his ability to get an assist in the final third. And it's not just him, but Liverpool in general are so decisive in those key moments, in part because of their piercing long balls, their directness, and their ability to just move the ball from point A to point B like that. And Chelsea really struggled. One of Chelsea's biggest mistakes today, or biggest problems today, apart from that Bermuda Triangle at the back of Colwell, Tosin, and Sanchez, apart from those three, which we'll talk about in a moment, it's just as a team, on the ball, they weren't really able to get anything going. Cole Palmer was silent throughout the game because Liverpool overloaded the midfield, and Palmer really couldn't play in the middle of the park. You then had Sancho and Madueke, who were playing really deep today, and when they were asked to drive with the ball into space and take on their fullbacks, they just couldn't produce the goods. So your two wide players, nullified. Your best number 10 and your best player, arguably, nullified. Nicholas Jackson can't get into the game because the three players playing around him can't affect the game. And guess what? All of a sudden, Chelsea's attack is completely quiet. In addition to that, Caicedo and Lavia can't really play their natural game because they're playing in a double pivot against a six-man midfield, essentially, because you've got three strikers and three midfielders pressing really compactly. So Liverpool completely suffocated the middle of the pitch, and Chelsea weren't really able to produce the goods out wide. And by the time they brought on Neto and Kunku, the game was pretty much done. So it was too late. And Maresca got that wrong today. So that was the biggest issue for Chelsea. And then in addition to not being good enough on the ball throughout the 90 minutes, they really struggled to defend. Cole Palmer's not really known for his defensive work. Neither is Jadon Sancho. Neither is Madueke. And I would extend that to Nicholas Jackson. So those four in the front weren't really doing much defensively for Chelsea, especially after that first half an hour, coupled with the fact that that awful Bermuda Triangle at the back cost Chelsea the game today. So there was just a combination of individual and collective issues with Chelsea today, and they just really couldn't deal with Liverpool. Liverpool were by far and beyond the better team. In terms of individual performances, shout out to Jones. Jones was sensational. Before I forget, he was excellent today. Not just because of the goal, but I think he was the engine for Liverpool today. I didn't really notice Gravenberch and Szoboszlai too much, but I definitely noticed Jones, and I definitely noticed Mo Salah in that Liverpool team. So shout out to them. They were probably the notable individual performers. And then as for Chelsea, Lavia was the only player that I really can say had a good game. Everybody else had a pretty quiet game. And I think that's less of a reflection of how bad Chelsea were today, because I don't think Chelsea were awful. I think it's more of a reflection of the levels today. Today was a game of two teams that are at two different levels. One team that is exciting, that has potential, that we know can play really good attacking football, but they have this issue with the lack of consistency and a very young core, and also a huge issue in that defense. Lots of defensive liabilities. And then on the other hand, you've got a team that is filled with know-how. You may question their technical ability, you may question their flair, but what you cannot question about Liverpool is that they know how to get it done. Even when they're not playing well, they know how to get it done. And that's not to say they weren't playing well today. They actually really did play some good football throughout periods of that second half. In fact, I think that second half was much improved from the first half. And Liverpool, the only reason they weren't able to go 3 or 4 goals up today is because they knew that after they scored the second goal, they didn't need to. Just kill the game off. No need to push and try to get another goal and risk potentially conceding on the counter. You know, even when Jackson scored, it didn't feel like the game was on again. You know, it felt like Liverpool were just going to go up the other end and respond, and so they did. So, yeah, man, big up to Liverpool, honestly. As much as I hate this team, I cannot deny that they are looking scary at the moment. And I think that they are firm title contenders along with Arsenal and Manchester City this season. The interesting thing is, how long will it take before Liverpool inevitably deal with injuries? Because I think that's the only element of this Liverpool team that I'm still yet to assess. I think if everybody stays fit, which can happen, you can get lucky in terms of your key players staying fit. It's happened before with this Liverpool team. They can go really far. But as soon as Gravenberch has a bit of a niggle, as soon as Mo Salah is out, and as soon as maybe someone like Jones is not available, I think this Liverpool team are going to have a lot of issues. The fact that they didn't have McAllister today as well, I thought would be a big deal, but they actually coped quite well with that. If something happens to Van Dijk as well, and Konate, that centre-back partnership that has been really good up until this point, I think only conceding 3 goals in the league so far, and by far and beyond establishing themselves as the best defence in the Premier League, I think if something happens to those two players, Liverpool could be in a bit of trouble as well, because I still don't trust Liverpool's bench. I still don't think they have the squad depth to keep up with Man City and to keep up with Arsenal. But so far, so good. We'll just have to wait and see. But other than that, I've got nothing else to say. I saw quite a few people saying that the game was pretty boring, and I was honestly questioning my sanity, because for me, that was a really good tactical battle between two teams that I think were very well coached in Liverpool and Chelsea. I think you saw one team, Liverpool, that has the know-how, that has the maturity, and that is still a very good team in transition, deadly and potent in transition. Then you have another team in Chelsea that, despite being good on the ball and having some good moments this season of showing how scintillating their attack can be, still have a lot of defensive frailties and still have a lot to figure out in terms of their defensive structure and how they adapt to games when things aren't going well in the final third. And that's really all it came down to today. I think the reason why there wasn't really any outstanding individual performances is because both teams did a really good job at different points throughout the game of nullifying each other out. And that's what happens when you have two really good teams playing against each other. It always happens in big games. So as far as I'm concerned, this wasn't a boring game, but it depends if you like a game of chess or not. Personally, I love a good tactical battle. I love a good game of chess. And that's what this game was for me. And that's why I was so utterly entertained as a neutral and begrudgingly saw Liverpool play so well as a United fan. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. It's been your boy Triple M. Leave a like if you did make it this far in the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. And of course, thank you so much for taking time out of your day. I hope you have a lovely Sunday afternoon and enjoy the rest of your week, which I guess is coming to an end. So, peace.